Fast food workers of Reddit. What should we not order at your restaurant? Why not? Story 1. Former Starbucks worker here. Please don't order anything off the secret menu. It doesn't exist. If you want a Snickerdoodle, Nutella, or Captain Crunch Frappuccino, or whatever other overly sugary thing someone has since come out with, know the base drink and the modifications, and order that. If you just say the name, it's up to the barista to come up with what's in the drink, and it may not be what the last barista you order from put in there. Story 2. Worked at KFC for 4 years. The barbecue sandwich is actually made from chicken too old and stale to give to the homeless shelters. So they soak in barbecue sauce until it can be pulled, and then they keep it on the heater for a month. I still order it through. Story 3. I worked at Chick-fil-A. Almost all of the food is great and prepared properly, and on that day, the ice machines are cleaned every day, the refrigerators that house the chicken at least once a week, and even the spouts that the soft drinks come out of are sanitized daily. The cookers and fry machines were moved once a week to clean behind and under them to make sure pests had nothing to munch on. The lemonade is hand-made fresh, squeezed lemons in the juicer in the back. As is the tea, it's actually brewed. Then I have worked at a fine dining restaurant, Ruth's Chris. The ice machine was never washed for the year I was there. Lemons were picked up and put in glasses by the unwashed hands of servers and bussers. And the kitchen would leave stuff out overnight without putting in the frig, then use it the next day. Lemon juice and baking soda can make anything smell good again. Some of the chefs here even told me that this was one of the cleaner restaurants they had worked at. Note to self, don't eat at Chinese restaurants. Edit thought of some more things that Chick-fil-A did and Ruth's Chris did not. By the way, never order anything on the specials menu. That's the stuff that needs to be eaten today or it will go bad. Because it's old to begin with, so seriously don't. Story 4. I used to work at a pizza grinder's place called Mancino's in Michigan. They have like 75 stores around here. Pretty small for a franchise. Anyway, they're super careful about cleanliness. The guy that got hired about a week before me got sent home early one day for not washing his hands after a smoke break. They threw out the food he touched. Then he did it again, and he was fired on the spot. I almost had money taken out of my check for sneezing near an open container of green peppers that we had to throw away until the owner found out the manager told me to come in despite having bad allergies that day. I've never seen a place so clean, to be honest. I'm glad my job was to make food and occasionally carry heavy stuff, because the two ladies who cleaned basically did that their entire 6-hour shifts every day, and it looked hard. The dishes were washed with real dish soap, not the cheap stuff my old Taco Bell used. The tables and chairs and door handles were all bleached every night and Lysoled about 3 times a day. All the food stuff was kept pretty much sterile until it was ready to put together and put in the oven immediately. Even the cooler and freezer got emptied and cleaned once a month. Crazy clean place. Anyway, don't ever eat there. The founder is literally a Nazi. Edit holy, I'm sorry. This was supposed to be a stupid story to blow off some steam today. The founder is not a Nazi. I just thought it was funny. Please don't boycott Mancino's. Faye's Good Eats. Control F, In-N-Out few. Story 5. Panera. Pasta, it's all microwave. This includes mac and cheese, smoothies, frozen drinks. Nasty base that smells and it's sticky. Cupcakes, coffee cakes. All come frozen. Best items are the real sandwich salads. Real ingredients and usually fresh. Story 6. I used to work in a baseball park concession stand. The short answer is not to order anything. But if you absolutely have to buy something, don't buy the hot dogs. Do not buy the hot dogs. They made it out of the package okay, and might even have been edible after we finished grilling them. And then they went into the water. We kept 3 pans of water at the back of the grill that held the hot dogs. Any hot dogs left at the end of the day went back into the fridge and came out again the next day. Me and the other cook put our feet down on throwing out the water and old hot dogs after 2 full days, but the management didn't want to let us. Oh, and our freezer broke, so all the meat got stored in the ice bin, and our management always told us when the surprise health inspections were going to show up, usually a week or so in advance. Story 7. Order what you want at Five Guys. The bacon sits out, but it's not like they're trying to hide it. Everyone can see the bacon sitting there. Just know that at least 2 of the managers steal the pickle jar from meth making. Edit also, the Cajun fries. Ask for a side of Cajun seasoning, then put on your burger. Story 8. There has been some changes to the menu in the last 4 years, but I would order anything from Wendy's except for baked potatoes, only because they're hit and miss. You never know how fresh the potato will be. Story 9. Olive Garden. Edit. It seems like OG is one of those places that's really determined by management. The whole kitchen is incredibly organized, and it's incredible that we can serve the amount of food that we do with so few kitchen staff. So I think that OG's corporate system, Darden, is pretty good at what they do. I just happen to work a location with an insane and incompetent manager. Complimentary salad. It's the only thing in our restaurant that comes 95 pre-made, with the exception being the tomatoes, which are cut at 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m., and are expected to last all day. Everything is technically refrigerated, but the fridge is always left open, since we go through salads so fast. Chicken anything, we go through chicken really fast, so if a particular kind isn't thawing fast enough in the walk-in, we leave a whole tray of it sitting underneath an oven-raised oven. It's not on the floor, sometimes up to 3 hours. Fried anything, I don't know how often the frying oil is changed, but judging by the color, I know it smells rancid. I don't know which dishes this comes with, but the potato and pepper mixture, which is fried, will often have pieces of pepper in it that have started to rot. Not growing mold rotten, but definitely soft discolored rotten. I don't do this, but I know every other prep cook in my location does. On the other hand, all of our breadsticks are made no more than 15 minutes before you consume them and kept warm until your waiter picks them up. They're also 140 calories each, without butter, but hey, what you gonna do? All of our soups are quite fresh, and all of the vegetables in them are fresh. 90 of them have been cut that same day. Sauces like pesto, Toscano tomato, garlic hummus, and our aioli will always be quite fresh. The pesto and all of our tomato sauces sans marinara sauce are made from scratch in-house. The breaded eggplant will always be the freshest thing on the menu. It's the only item I'm aware of that must be used the same day it's made. Everything else can be kept in the walk-in anywhere from 2 to 7 days. Don't worry, the only item that's kept for 7 days is our seasoned roasting oil. Edit scratch that last bullet point. The breaded eggplant is fried in our rancid oil pit of filth. Story 10 Taco John's reporting for all you Midwesterners. I would steer clear of the beans, at least outside of peak hours, because they sit on the hot table for a long, long time, and when they dry out, just add water. Everything else is pretty solid though. Worked there a couple years back in 2007 to 2009, and still love going back to get my fix. Story 11 Milkshakes at Jack in the Box. If you're allergic to fruit, we do not clean the mixer very well, and it's used for smoothies and milkshakes like we're told to just half it in the training video. It's ridiculous. Story 12 worked at Subway 10 to 12. Only thing I have to say is that tuna and seafood package used to have a label on it that said that it didn't contain dolphin or turtles in the meat. Then that label suddenly disappeared in 2012. Story 13 If a sandwich shop asks if you want it toasted before they begin making it, it's so they can use day-old stale bread. If you want it toasted, say no and wait until they make the sandwich, then tell them that you changed your mind and want it toasted after all. Story 14 Every Redditor who works at Chipotle has the same consensus: don't order the quesarito. I've never ordered it and it never seemed appealing to me to begin with. But apparently when customers order them, every employee in a restaurant hates you. Story 15 I worked at Einstein's Bagel Place, which is basically fast food. Don't order anything with eggs. They aren't real eggs, and if business is slow, they could have been sitting in a container for hours after they are microwaved. Story 16 Ugh. Okay, there are plenty of comments here about dirty ice buckets and machines, the horror that is involved with lemons, and other kitchen tomfoolery that occurs from smallest to greatest whenever people don't get paid enough to give about their work. But I would like to point out to those of you who feel the appropriate response is to use subterfuge, change instructions mid-make, request special subtractions after the fact, that in all likelihood, you're putting someone in a position where it is much easier to simply pick through your already prepared food and remove the offending ingredient. These are not bad people, just workers perhaps inured by endless dickishness perpetrated by people who are out to nitpick every last thing, most in service of getting a discount or free product. The sad thing is that this happens entirely more often at fast food joints, where no one is making enough to give and corporations have all but stopped caring about even the most blatant scammery. It's simply easier to dish up the freebies to one and all who, and save the company from putting out fires on social media fronts. I recall one incident where a frequent flyer would get free and discounted food on a regular basis. Finally, they tired of her antics and requested she not return, so she began telling stories of blatant racism, how she was singled out, then agitated others to go in the store and start trouble, attack workers. The store ended up with security guards after violence and vandalism. I found out about it when she started a social media campaign for justice, and a church group got involved. Then the media took interest and discovered her long history of fuckery, her constant criminal charges, and blatant attempt to damage the business out of revenge for being denied her free dollar treats. Even then, there were people willing to back her up, quack about rights, and agitate. The guy who posted on Reddit about heavily salting a dish before returning it to be remade because of an allergen, so you could ensure it didn't just get reused, had the right idea. Make your needs known, and then carefully examine your purchase before consuming it. If there's a problem, let him know, preferably without screaming or spitting. But playing mystery meal is stupid and childish. Knock that off. Story 17 Former Little Caesars manager here. Some franchises are different, but I wouldn't order any crazy bread, jalapeno bread, or Italian bread. The they dress it without the oven is not butter. It's some nasty imitation that comes in a huge bottle and does not need to be refrigerated. Also, hot and readies and chicken wings have been known to sit in the warmer for hours at a time until sold, as Steve Brule says for your health. Story 18, I used to work at McDonald's. If you order specially chicken nuggets, just ask for them fresh. Otherwise, they've been just sitting in their container in the heat. They have a timer, but 910 times when that timer goes off, people just reset the timer instead of making new ones. This could go on until all the nuggets are sold. Story 19, I once worked at Tim Hortons. Let's see, it's usually not a good idea to buy donuts late at night. They're made early in the morning and are usually stale by that time. Don't order a mocha with no whipped cream. It will be more expensive than if you order a half coffee, half hot chocolate, and they are literally the same thing. Only the latter is the price of a coffee. Story 20, McDonald's. The egg white delight is just as unhealthy, if not more so, than the regular round eggs. The amount of butter, at least in my store sprayed on the grill, must up the calorie and fat count like crazy. I've heard a cook say, shouldn't have come to McDonald's if you were trying to lose weight while soaking the inside of the egg white ring with layer upon layer of butter. Also, I do recommend a regular round egg any day. The liquid eggs for the scrambled and egg whites are a chemical shitstorm. At least the round egg is the real deal. Story 21, I used to work at a restaurant. The worst things you could order were generally anything that involved a lot of being touched by hands, sandwiches, salads, etc. Hygiene wasn't enforced as much as it should be, and we didn't often get the time to regularly clean our hands anyway. This went for both the waitresses and the chef. Story 22, from my experiences, the tuna and egg salad at Subway is just bagged tuna eggs and a ton of mayo to make it soft. So if you're ordering it, don't bother asking for mayo at the end, which everyone always does. Story 23, I work at Chick-fil-A, and honestly, pretty much everything is pretty good. We keep the back super clean, gloves, and all that fun stuff to keep from contaminating. Only thing I would be iffy on is the chicken salad sandwich. We cool some of the chicken once its hold time is up and debread it and use it in the chicken salad. But other than that, not anything really bad or gross. Story 24, Sonic. It's actually a really clean place. Ice machine clean daily, oil replaced daily. Our burgers seem to be good quality. We grill them and put them in bins. If they've been sitting for like 30 minutes, we just threw them out. The chicken, on the other hand, well, first of all, isn't real true chicken, and it sits for much longer BC of lack of orders and lack of stocked up chicken in general. All the fries and popcorn chicken are prepared well. The only thing along those lines is the corn dogs. You could certainly get one that really isn't fresh. Our hot dogs are prepared on one of the roller things, and you won't get one that has been sitting for more than 20 minutes BC. They just burn up. Story 25, Dunkin' Donuts here. The donuts are fine, but don't order the sandwiches. The tuna chicken is scooped out of a little container. I don't even know what's in it. The eggs come pre-cooked and look disgusting. Donuts good. Sandwiches, you're nuts, stoned or hammered. Story 26, I work at Panera Bread St. Louis Bread Company. Please, for the love of God, stop ordering a bread bowl of broccoli cheddar soup with a French baguette and strawberry smoothie. There isn't anything wrong. We just need a break from the mundane. Order something new and extravagant. We get bored. Also, please stop calling it Paneras. Story 27, I work for McDonald's, and make sure everyone that matters to me never orders anything that comes out of the McCafe machine, as these are routinely neglected in practically all the McDonald's. Not only are staff not properly trained in its cleaning and maintenance, at almost every McDonald's I've had experience with, the managers in charge of training them don't know all either. There's a compartment that catches the coffee espresso grounds, and when you take it out, there's a hole that gives you access to the inside of the machine. Very dark. Can't be taken apart without someone specialized in servicing it coming it, and normally needs special brushes to be cleaned. I've been to a couple different McDonald's and have never seen anyone have the proper ones. A couple of times I stuck my hand in the machine to pull out a literal fistful of black soot to show to the managers that it's not in proper condition, and nothing has come of it. The insides are caked with it, the lines where the product comes out as well. Also, I'm not sure about all places, but the McDonald's Emmett now also has us cleaning the smoothie machine with glass cleaner. I work nights, so unless I really hate the person coming in, I try to play it off like these machines are in their automatic cleaning cycles and can't be used, but really I can't morally justify serving people this dangerously shitty stuff. TLDR, all McCafe beverages run through a horrifically dirty machine. We're talking 5 inches of uncleaned, liquid bullshit making up its inside parts, and the smoothies have glass cleaner in them. Story 28, In-N-Out employee here. Everything is made fresh daily, and we have strict rules making sure our burgers and fries are of the highest quality. If a fry sits out for more than 5 minutes, we have to throw it away. Nothing comes to mind that you should avoid. Story 29, former kitchen worker for a grocery store restaurant. Be wary of that type of restaurant. When a meat department pulls meat off a shelf that's out of date and needs to be thrown away, they take it to the kitchen and let them use it. I've seen this done with chops, chicken, ground beef, and fish. The worst is the fish and chicken. The place I'm talking about is currently being sued for allegedly giving some guy salmonella, and I read a case file where one of our kitchens was caught rinsing bad chicken in bleach seriously, cooking it, and serving it to people 10 or so years ago. I've tried to do the mental gymnastics necessary to rationalize putting chicken in bleach, but I just can't. Story 30, I work at a McAllister's Deli, and truthfully we're not that bad. Granted, on the surface, we seem like a healthy alternative, but we're really just as bad as any fast food place. People see sandwiches, soups, salads, and spuds and think they're all automatically healthy. Haha, nope. Just about everything item has cheese and dressing that'll skyrocket that calorie intake. The only thing we make homemade is the tuna salad and the pasta salad. Everything else, soups, most side items, cookie dough, and chicken salad, is made by a specific company and sent to us. Grillers are pre-made, but we make enough that'll last throughout the day. Reason being is that they usually take the longest to make because of having to go through the griller. They're refrigerated until needed. Our crew, both front of house and back of house, are all very cleanly and work hard. Our food is delicious, and I'm not being biased. However, just to answer this question, I will say that the only item I ever told not to order is what was called the turkey cranberry griller. That's mainly because it tasted horrible. Other than that, I really can't say anything too bad about us. Story 31, I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but unless anyone were to give the specific location of their franchise restaurant, then everything said is moot. The standards of cleanliness can vary so drastically from one location to the next because of management, clientele, local board of health regulations that broadly sweeping statements about what one should or should not order, while extremely entertaining, cannot be considered meritorious. Also, In-N-Out is overrated sourdough jack for life. Story 32, rather than not ordering specific items, I would recommend all customers do the following. Eyeball the floors and tables when you come in. If they are filthy, that is probably the standard throughout the restaurant. Watch what the person who takes your money does right after finishing your order and touching your dirty, filthy, germy money. Do they wash their hands, touch your silverware, put on gloves without washing their hands? See, eyeball the make lines, the stainless steel surfaces on which hot cold food is prepared. Is there sauce and meat and all over that? Or has it clearly been wiped down recently with only some stray lettuce? D, is your food hot and fresh? If it is not, call and complain. There are rules in fast food about holding times of hot food, and if they are not being followed, the only way the manager has of knowing is if the customer complains, especially at nighttime, when unpredictable business and lack of upper management makes food purchasing a little sketchier. These things should help you know if you should eat food prepared there or not. However, if your fast food workers look clearly frazzled and have 7 million customers and up your order even though they're trying hard not to, be kind and just let them know politely so they can replace it. They're not trying you over. There's just no way to predict sudden rushes. Story 33. This has been an interesting thread from the perspective of someone who has about 6 years food service experience. Some of that in management. My thoughts, about 30 of those responding have any clue about health codes and or proper sanitation. About 60 of those responding seem to speak from some sort of voodoo concepts of cleanliness, such as the idea that machines' implements are always cleaner than hands, or that food is only good if it is served immediately fresh. One wonders what you would do if you saw how steaks are aged or how proper barbecue is made. Most of our cuisine is based on rehabilitating stale and or substandard ingredients. Meat too tough for steaks, stew, bread too stale for sandwiches, French toast. Some of these food items necessarily cannot be prepared or served immediately because time is a necessary ingredient in their proper preparation. Just because a food item is not removed from a plastic wrapper, cooked, and immediately served does not mean it isn't fresh, sanitary, or properly prepared. Story 34. As a former McDonald's worker who took the drive-thru orders, please place your order at the appropriate place. It screws up the system if you breeze right up past the speaker box and or the first window, and the usual, don't be a shitty person. McDonald's crew members are humans who have to deal with bad management and work drama just like everyone else. Story 35. I worked at a typical Chinese takeout place. I was the only white guy there, so this place was legit, complete with flies everywhere, hanging sticky fly traps dangling over where food is prepped, rice being left out for over a day. When they marinated meat, such as ribs, chicken, or beef, they would leave the meat in a bowl, unrefrigerated and left out for up to 5 hours. If you ate in the restaurant and left your egg roll untouched, they put it back with the other ones. If someone's food was sent back for being the wrong thing, they would use it for someone else's order. On our Yelp review, someone said they found a staple in the food. I also worked in many pizza joints. 45 are disgusting and inhumane to their workers. I've cut mold off of vegetables and cheese and served the unmoldy parts to people. If it fell on the floor, it was picked back up. I could keep going on. If you want clean food, stick to well-managed chains. Story 36. I used to work at Wendy's. Unless you're okay with eating days-old beef, don't order their chili. I would go further and say don't order anything, because the working conditions were pretty gross and unsanitary, and it was a gamble for whether the employees even washed their hands after using the bathroom, not to mention most of them wore their aprons on the toilet. So, yeah, don't eat at Wendy's. Story 37. Pizza Hut. Don't get the 3-cheese stuffed crust. The cheese in the crust is not better than the normal stuffed crust, and you get much less of it. The normal stuffed crust pizza goes all the way around the crust. The 3-cheese leaves huge gaps where there is no cheese. And now that the $10 pizza deal is back, you can get as many toppings as you want for $12 on a regular stuffed crust pizza. But try doing that with a 3-cheese, and you pay per topping. It's a blatant ripoff, and people still order it. Story 38. Current McDonald's maintenance manager here. Our mighty wings are absolute. They're mainly bone and fat. The rest is artificial and greasy. It may taste good, but chemically engineered food is supposed to keep that in mind. Tyson, the company who makes our mighty wings, accidentally made about 6 million pounds to much mighty wings. That's the only reason we brought them back and lowered the price. Also, pretty much everything here at McDonald's is shitty. Our shake ice cream mix comes as a liquid, and after a short time of the mix being in the machine, it starts to harden horribly, like massive amounts of lime build up. Remember, you're drinking that. The food is so processed that literally it does not deteriorate. I mean, everything: the fries, buns, meats, salads, everything. After cooking the food, we put them in our UHC universal heating cabinets, which is at around 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Air easily gets in, and thus the food chills. Also, we have timers on UHCs, which no one ever follows, i.e. 60 minutes for sausage. If it's slow enough, we will literally hold them for 2 hours. They become hard and cold. And what seems like more greasy, our sauces that we use, ranch, barbecue, honey mustard, etc., have a 1-week secondary shelf life. If it's correctly taken care of, refrigerated, some stay out for as long as 3 weeks. And that's not refrigerated EW. We serve the worst possible food here, and it's okay, because it's convenient. Wrong. All in all, don't duck and eat McDonald's, but don't eat the wings, bruh. I'm trying to save your life. Not my Reddit account, my GFS. Story 39. I worked at Taco Bell a little bit ago, and I warn everyone to stay away from both the beans and the steak. The beans start out looking like cat food, and the directions are add water and stir until you can't see white anymore. The steak was just the worst on dish duty. If it would sit too long, it would become like hair gel. It was the worst. Story 40. I worked at Five Guys Burgers and Fries for about 6 months last summer. We cleaned the out of the place every night for hours. The ingredients were never more than 8 hours old, except some of the veggies that could be refrigerated and keep for several days. Everything there is very sanitary, and the food is delicious. 1010. Story 41. HuffPo linked this. Also put a few current employees' Reddit usernames in there. Not very nice. Story 42. McDonald's worker here. Please don't order the mighty wings. They're specialty items that are made by request. So we have to go to the freezer, set out a special area in the deep fryer. The spiciness of the wings can mess with other foods, and they take forever to make. If you're fine with waiting 7 extra minutes for your order, go ahead and buy those mighty wings. Story 43. I'm not necessarily a fast food worker, but I work part-time in the cafeteria of a hospital. Our cafe staff is really good about changing gloves, washing hands, etc., and we're too busy for our food to sit out more than 15 minutes or so. But the staff in the room service side of the department is a different story. They prepare and deliver food to patients. I have seen so many people not wearing gloves and portioning out Jell-O, pudding, etc., or thinking that they can wear the same pair of gloves all day and germs will just magically stay away. I have even seen one of the room service managers taking sandwich wraps from our self-serve cafeteria deli to use for a patient because she didn't want to open a new package. A lot of patients have compromised immune systems, and things need to be very sanitary. So I couldn't believe she did that. I don't know if they're more careless, because they're hidden from the eyes of the public until they run a cart to a floor, or what. I'm sure everyone already knows this, but hospitals are some of the dirtiest places. Shudder. Story 44. Big Mac. Get a McDouble with no ketchup or mustard, add mac sauce, and shredded lettuce. Literally the same exact sandwich as the Big Mac, except for the buns, for around half the price. Story 45. I worked at Boston Market many moons ago. Nothing stands out as being gross. The mashed potatoes are just a mix. The chicken is delivered frozen, but definitely real. They were also pretty strict about taking the food temperature every hour or so. If it wasn't hot enough, it got dumped. Overall, I thought it was pretty clean. I still eat at Boston Market today. Story 46 Dairy Queen here. Everything is safe and handled with care. Bad stuff is thrown away within the hour. But if we drop ice cream or something up, it gets thrown in the freezer and used in a cake or something, but really it's super clean. Story 47, I work at Chick-fil-A, and we make our chicken salad from the sandwich fillets we don't sell before their 20-minute timer expires. But we immediately refrigerate the chicken, and it still tastes amazing, and who am I kidding? It's hard to find anything wrong with Chick-fil-A, except my coworkers. Story 48, Domino's. Don't order the pasta bowls. The pasta is what you'd expect from Domino's, and we literally use an entire pizza dough for the bread bowl. Secret menu item would be to order lava cakes, but as for them cold, they are delicious cold. Also, the pan pizzas are amazing. Story 49, Little Caesars actually mixes up dough on site. Doesn't come pre-made and frozen. The franchise I worked at was good. Obviously will vary, but it's a pizza joint. It's going to hot oven. So unless something extremely dangerous is going on, not going to kill you. And for $5 is not bad pizza. Cheap and filling. Story 50, KFC worker here. Please, for the love of God, do not order a ton of Chicken Little's new version of Snackers, Go Cups, or Dublicious sandwiches during rush hour. Generally 5 to 730 weekdays, or 4 to 8 for Zatzen. They are annoying to make, as we have to put on gloves, and the lids on Go Cups only fit on properly when the store is not busy. Scientific fact, if you have any special requests like sauces or no ice in the drink, please let us know at the window, and not when ordering. The archaic seller-empowered registers don't have an option for no-ice drinks, and we will likely forget during rush hour. That it also, always ask for your hot wings to be dropped fresh. The 930-minute wait is worth the difference between eating fried rocks and delicious spicy wings. If you have the time, in general, ask for fresh food, but the most important ones are bites, wings, tenders, and wedges at 4M, 9M, 6M, and 5M cook times respectively. It's worth the wait. Story 51 worked at Arby's 15 years ago. Once I saw what the roast beef looked like before we cooked it, I never ate it again. It is a gelatinous mass with chunks of meat in it. Literally a paste with chunks of meat. The chicken is kosher though. Chicken bacon Swiss is the... Story 52 worked at Country Style similar to Tim Hortons. Our donuts get delivered to us at 5 a.m. fresh. Workers come in at 5:30 a.m. Store opens at 6 a.m. One morning, I show up and our donuts are covered in ants. I freak out and show the owner. The owner dusted off all of the ants and put the donuts into the food case to be sold. I quit right then and there. Story 53, Wendy's worker here. Not necessarily trying to stop you from ordering something, but if you order the ciabatta burger, order it with chicken instead. Grilled or home-style will be best. The garlic rosemary aioli sauce and sun-dried tomatoes just work better on chicken than beef. Story 54, I know this is just going to get buried, but the very popular chain restaurant that I work at made us sign a contract that we won't badmouth them or the processes on the internet. Story 55, Pizza Hut worker. Breadsticks are not healthier than cheese sticks. They're painted with butter-flavored oil. Thin crust has less oil and is a little healthier since the regular pizzas have a layer of oil on the bottom of the pan. Wing Street wings may or may not be fresh. It depends. Ask for traditional to be cooked twice since a lot of times they come out still a little raw in the middle. Everything is cleaned every day. Dishes are washed and then put in sanitation water and then put up to dry. We clean the grill every day and filter it and change the oil out every week. We also do our best to keep everything fresh and sanitary. Story 56, this thread is non-effective to me. Still gonna eat the lemons and olives in my drinks. Everything else I'm just hungry now for some greasy fast food. Story 57, I used to work for Papa John's and was witness on several occasions to breadsticks falling to the ground and simply being picked up and put back in the box. The whole store was always disgusting and dirty. I blame it on the staff, not necessarily the company. It was completely run by teen and early 20-something punks who didn't give a. Story 58, I work in a diner. And I would suggest that if you have to modify any dish more than once, maybe twice, you are better off just making it for yourself at home. Restaurants make food the way the chefs and general managers want to, not the way you do at home. Please trust that the people you are paying to cook your food, that they're doing it right. I know this is a big generality, but most restaurants really are trying to give you good quality food and service. Story 59, not a fast food restaurant per se, but I used to work in a cold storage that had the juice line from McCain's, and all their stuff went out McChoke pukes and the like. I won't touch a box cup of that stuff ever again. I understand it's just like all the other foods out there. Unless you raised the animal or planted the seed yourself, You never know what's happened to your food before you eat it. There were some things I've seen them do in those pasteurizing vats that just make me cringe. Story 60 Woked at 2 different Buffalo Wild Wings and help train or retrain the staff at a handful of locations. They will hire any that walks through the door to cook for them. Their kitchen manager typically has zero kitchen experience other than the week of on-the-job training by current cooks. Because of this, many basic food safety and sanitation procedures are overlooked, unenforced, or disregarded. Examples: thawing meat in warm hot water, not wearing gloves or washing hands after handling raw product, neglecting to clean exposed surfaces if they require a stool to reach, improper rotation of produce, using expired product, rotten food build up and pull out drawer coolers, etc. Edit another good one. Placing raw chicken burgers on flat top to cook, realizing it is not needed, then putting it back in with uncooked product to use later. Story 61 Spicy Chicken Sandwich from McDonald's. Unless you specifically ask for it fresh, the meat sits in the holding trays for a long time because hardly anyone gets a spicy chicken. So it's usually incredibly dry and probably pretty chewy. If you ask for it to be fresh though, ITLL be fine. Also, don't ask for less mayo. It's impossible for us to do that. We can give you extra mayo or no mayo, but not less. It comes out in a preset amount that we have absolutely no control over because of the device that's used to apply the mayo. Story 62. I worked at McDonald's, started out with working counter and drive-through, moved up to the assembly line making food, then to grill cooking beef chicken. Literally did everything at the store. The McDonald's I worked at is one of the top McDonald's in the nation and a seed store testing new products equipment for all the rest of the McDonald's. And all of the food was always fresh. Near that being said, I will never order nuggets again or never order grilled chicken. For one, Eve been on the receiving end of nuggets with no chick, just breading. It literally tasted like throw up the first time. The second time I actually threw up, fairly unpleasant. Never again have I ordered nuggets since that second time. Also, grilled chicken sits in a tray of its own grease and butter all day. If it starts to look old and a manager says to put fresh product on, you just flip it. Looks nice and moist like fresh chicken, and it's just disgusting. I hate grilled chicken. Trust me, the crispy chicken is better for you. Oh yeah, the secret menu thing with McGangbangs that doesn't exist. Stop asking for them.